What's up, everyone? I'm CL Connolly, and today I want to talk about vanity publishers. So here's the deal. I have received a phone call several times. I say a phone call. It's the same company has called me several times. So here's the deal. Each one of my books, I have a copyright certificate from it because I pay the money to submit, that's the word I'm looking for. I pay the money to submit my books to the Copyright Office. So I have the certificate that says I own this story. It is mine. I came up with it. It's all imagined in my head, right? So to me, it says that it's mine. You can't copy it. That's it. Well, when you do that, there are these vanity presses who actually go to the Copyright Office, search this stuff up, and ask. Because they get your information because you have to register that with the Copyright Office. And, oh, I see that you had a book that you registered for copyright, and I just wanted to know if you were looking for a publisher. Okay, I'm sorry. First of all, when you're calling about this book, the one that was published in 2014, no, I don't need you to help publish my book. And I told someone that the first time they called. So they waited a couple of days and decided to call again about the same book. Okay, well, I don't know what your problem is. I don't need it. There's absolutely no way that I need your assistance in publishing my book. I told the last guy, hey, I just published my 10th book. No, I do not need you to help me publish my second one. Okay, fine. And then a couple of days later, I get a phone call from some different person, a totally different person. So now this is now 3 different people from the same exact publishing company, or I'm sorry, Vanity Press. I'm not even calling it a publishing company because I know it's a Vanity Press. So now this is the third time that they've called, and it's a totally different person. And they're asking if I need any assistance with publishing. No, I do not, because I'm not going to pay you $5,000 for you to do what I do cheaper on my own. I do not need your help. And that is my biggest thing, okay? So I do not like when these vanity presses are actually preying on people who don't know, right? So here's the deal. Because I started researching publishing in I was going to say 2016. No, 1996. Since I started researching publishing companies in 1996, I don't know where I got 2016 from. I feel like I'm not that old at this point. But I started researching companies in 1996 so that I knew what I was supposed to do. And all of these books that I had read actually said, do not ever pay someone to publish your book. If they feel like your book is worth being published, they will pay to have it published and then pay you royalties. That's just how it works. It's the same thing in the modeling industry. Never pay for anything. Don't pay for headshots or any type of photos or anything else. Do not pay for anything. If the agent feels that you are marketable, then they will pay to have you marketed. That's just how it works out. Because your sales and the jobs that you book and things like that will actually bring them money to pay you later. That's how that works. They get their first cut. That's just how it works. They always get their first cut, and then the actual artist or model or whatever gets what's left over. That's how that works because they have a finder's fee. So essentially, my thing is that I will not pay $5,000 for someone to attempt to assist me in what they believe that they're doing is correct. It's not. What they're doing is not right. So if you are approached by someone who is looking to publish your book, that's not what they're looking to do. What they are going to do is what you can do on your own. They're going to submit it to Ingram Spark, KDP, whatever. They will submit it to those companies under their name, and then maybe they'll pay you. maybe they'll pay you. I have seen some pretty bad, like cover stories and stuff, like not cover stories, you know what I mean? Like reviews and stuff on these people. I've seen some pretty bad reviews on these, companies and stuff like that who seem to think that, oh, we're going to publish you. We're going to publish you. No, you're not. You're not. You're not going to publish me at all. You're just paying a book printer to do what I can do on my own. So I'm telling you now, do not trust Vanity Presses. Do not go to these other companies who seem to believe that they are going to get you published. And because no true traditional publisher will actually approach you. You will always be approached by generally an agent, a literary agent. That's how that works. You will generally be approached by an agent that says that we can actually, you know, get your book out there and stuff like that. They will pay for everything else. That's how that works. There's not going to be not that I know of anyway. If I'm wrong, let me know. But I don't believe that a publishing company is out there, like an actual true publishing company is out there looking for writers who have copyrighted their books and thinking, okay, they're sitting on a manuscript. I'm not sitting on a manuscript at all. It got published. Sorry. So it got published. And them thinking that, I guess I needed one. Them thinking that they can actually help me is wrong. They're not going to help me do anything. They're not helping anyone do anything. That is not what they're looking to do. And because I know better, and I'm not going to sit there and allow them to take advantage of me, that's where I can come in and say, no, thank you. I don't need it. This isn't right. Now, I will say that I do get emails on a regular basis from supposed publishing companies that generally get sent into my spam folder. So I usually Google them to figure it out. And I will tell you this much. After Googling some of them, sometimes it'll say, yes, it's reputable, blah, 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 blah. But I'm still not going to respond to it. You literally cold email me, you know, which is the same thing as the cold call. I never asked for this. I never registered for anything that you needed. I'm not on your email list. You decided to do this all on your own because you know that I have this. Plus, not only that, but they can get my email address from my website, because on my website, it can actually be emailed. It comes through as, I think it's info@clconnolly.com, something like that. But they can email me from there. And that's something there too, because they could see my books and stuff like that. So I have to really be vigilant on exactly who it is that I'm actually responding to and how things are, you know, it's awful. It's just, it's not the way things should be. That's just how it is. Do not allow a vanity press. If someone contacts you, you get their information, you look up the company, and then decide if that's something that you really want to do. 9 times out of 10, it's a big giant no. No, that is not something I want to do. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. So essentially, just be careful if you have submitted a book for copyright. Be careful with that, because there are companies out there who are getting your information when you register things on the Copyright Office, that they're getting your information to request that you pay them money. That's just how it is. They're not going to do anything for you. And I had looked into a lot of these vanity presses in the early 2000s because I felt like that was the only way that I was going to actually get published, after receiving a response back from a query letter from an agent who said, because I have never been published, I will never be published. That was the best response I think I ever got. And funny thing is that I was paying for all of this because back then you had to send a self-addressed stamped envelope, and they would put in a letter inside that envelope and send it right back to you. So I was paying for all of these stamps and all of the envelopes and all of the paper. And yes, that's exactly what happened. Sorry. I have a lot of drainage. I think it's spring weather, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so that's the deal. Okay, so back then it wasn't through email. It was literally through mail. I have an entire folder in my file cabinet of all the query rejection letters I have. I think I have like 180 of them. And most of them were just like, oh, thank you for your submission, blah, 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 blah. That's it. That's all I got. Was like, no, thank you. Of course it's a no, thank you. Because back then, y'all were all about the Harry Potter series in the early 2000s. I believe that's when it came out. Yes, it was in the early 2000s because that's when I started reading it to my son. And he told me I read too slow and wanted to do it himself, and he was 4. So anyway, so Harry Potter was a big deal back then. So because my books were not Harry Potter-esque in any way, and that was the big deal was, oh, we got to have all of this. And, serial killers are I guess they're not a huge thing apparently back then. So they didn't want to have anything to do with it. And then for an agent to actually tell me that, hey, by the way, because you're not already published, you can't get published. That was kind of a bullshit move, by the way. So that was when I was like, okay, fine, then I'm going to do this myself. So I looked into a lot of these vanity presses, not knowing at the time that that was probably not the best way to go. So what I had done was I looked at some of them and realized that a lot of the costs were between $2,500 and $10,000 to have your book published. Well, I'm thinking that makes sense. Okay, fine. You're paying someone to actually publish your book. I get it. But then I remembered, wait a minute, I have another book that I've actually read that said not to do that. So I went back and looked at it to figure out exactly what it was and thought, nope, I'm not going to do it. So I continued to research and research and research. And that's when I found Create Space and Lightning Source, which is now KDP and Ingram Spark. So, anywho, that is how that works. I figured out exactly what I was going to do. I looked at both companies respectively and basically thought to myself, you know what, which one would, basically benefit me in the long run. And that's when I went with Lightning Source. I have, however, switched over to Ingram Spark at this point because for the last few years, they've been asking me to do that. So I finally did. But anyway, and there's a whole other reason why I will not do Create Space or KDP, and I would rather stick with Ingram Spark Lightning Source because it is more beneficial to me to stay with this company. No matter what kind of issues that I have, there's always going to be issues with everyone. So that's just my whole thing. Anyway, beside the point, vanity presses are not the way to go. When you're asking for someone who, technically we're starving artists, right? So writers are starving artists. People who paint pictures and stuff, we're all starving artists. We do what we can and put it out to the masses and hope that, the viewing public actually wants to see it. That includes indie movie makers. The indie movies and stuff like that. They go out there and they hope that somebody wants to watch their movie, and they're so proud of what they've created. And that's just what we do. We are so proud of what we have created, and we really want a bunch of people to read our stories or see our stories or look at our art or anything like that. That's all that we're looking for. Can we afford between $2,500 and $10,000 to have our books published? Hell no! And you trying to tell me, oh, we'll have it looked through by our editor and stuff like that, and that's where that'll go, and we'll have our own cover designer and stuff like that. There are so many stories out there where somebody went with a vanity press, the editing was shit, the cover didn't even go with the actual book, and it was just the most ridiculous thing. And then trying to fight to get your rights back because you no longer own your rights to that. They now own your rights to that. They own the rights to that book. It's no longer yours. You have basically paid them to take it from you. That's what makes it so much more awful. So essentially, do not go with vanity presses. If someone contacts you because you filed for copyright or you bought an ISBN and you have your information out there somewhere and these people are saying, hey, we can help you. No, they cannot. They are not going to help you in any way. They just, assume that they can scam you. They are straight up scammers. Do not go with a vanity press. The end. That is all I have to say. These phone calls and stuff need to stop. The emails need to stop. I'm not going to have anyone else publish my book. That is just how it goes. I like having creative control over it. So that is all I have to say. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I don't care what you do. Do whatever the fuck you want. Blah. I post new videos every Monday and Thursday, so I'm here being a bitch on camera twice a week. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. But that is it. Okay, bye!